Entrepreneurship from Put You on Game, and we are having my fellow podcasters day here at Entrepreneurs. I am so excited because I love podcasting. I love getting knowledge about how to do this from people who are also doing it. There's so many ways to podcast. It's just an interesting subject. So we got a lot to talk about. Today we have you. D is here from Put You on Game. And then we also have some of the cast from I Got Big Bowls Pause. And I love this show. They're part of Live Hip Hop Daily Crew. They're hilarious. I can't wait for you guys to meet them as well. And we have a lot of trends today that we are going to talk about. So, especially in the podcasting game, there's a Twitter beef with Nicki Minaj and Carisha. We got to talk about that. California's giving reparations to every black resident. I wanted to talk about what you would do with $1.2 million from the state. We're also going to talk about Gabrielle Union's controversial 50-50 comment that she also made on a podcast. So, what is crazy is people are giving their information on podcasts. I want to talk about it. It's not like you go on the news and have a special anymore.
Right.
You just go on a podcast.
Absolutely.
I think that's really crazy, and I feel like we're in the right space. I love all of this stuff. I love it. So, also, I have a few networking places for Memorial Day weekend. So, you guys stay tuned for all of that. And I'm sorry if I felt a little flustered because I was late. Traffic, Atlanta.
Traffic is crazy, man.
Atlanta and this traffic is wild, but that brings me to a really happy point. I am moving my show starting in June to 7. So I know you guys got used to Thursdays at 5, but now it is Thursdays at 7. I'm very excited to have this new move. This is going to help me be able to get here with all this traffic, and our guests will have their time, and then you guys can have time to watch. You guys are in traffic too. I want you guys to be at home and comfortable when you're watching the show. Right. So definitely stay tuned for all of the new stuff that we have going on. And always, we like to shout out Creative Visions for shooting this. We love them. And shout out to Live Hip Hop Daily for having me every single week, Thursdays at 7 now. All right. The first event, before we start talking, I'm so sorry. Because I know you're like, how many promos does she have? All of them. I have a lot of them on purpose. Because I want y'all to be informed. Entrepreneurs have to get out. We have to network. We have to do fun things. And so Camp Creek is having a soul music festival. And it is starting Memorial Day weekend. And it's going to be from 2 to 9. So this is a really cool opportunity for you guys to bring your blankets and chill at a lake in the middle of Atlanta and meet a whole bunch of entrepreneurs, everybody in the city. Just have a good time while you are networking. So, and it's only $25. So, and I know a lot of clubs are charging a lot more than that. So
people are cheap nowadays, man. People are cheap, man.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that too. That's something I'm experienced as a podcaster as well. Okay, so let's start with California's reparations.
Okay.
$1.2 million to every black resident. How do you feel about that?
1.2 million. That's a lot of
what would
money,
you do
man.
with that?
First thing I do is pay off my student loan debt. First thing I would do, pay off my student loan debt. Then I don't know, man. At that point, I probably buy my mama a house. And then I invested. I just invest in myself, invest in my podcast.
What would you do with your podcast?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, because I was thinking, what would I do with all my seed money?
I don't know. What would I do with my podcast? Have some way where I can just give back, because I enjoy helping people. That's part of my podcast. It's about giving out knowledge and stuff. So
I like that.
It'd be a way where I can help people. So now I definitely have the resources. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I can really do more. So that's what I think I focus on more.
I like that. I think a lot of people feel like they're going to spend it all on themselves. But once you start kind of a movement, especially with a podcast, you end up meeting all these people who like what you do, and you just can't help but feel like you want to help them out. Absolutely. So explain to us who you are and what your podcast is about, and then we'll ask more questions.
Okay, my name is D. Darius, but you can call me D, man. I know my name too long. Everybody always tell my name too long. Just call me D, man. Call me D. Well, basically, my podcast is about giving out game, giving out knowledge to the youth. It's about showing a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, we let our TV raise us, you know what I'm saying? We look on TV, we base our lives on relationships, base our lives on everything, on celebrities' life. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I want to show people that anybody can teach you something. And just because this person is not famous, I reposted the clip LL Cool J said on my Instagram too. Just because people ain't famous doesn't mean they don't have knowledge. Doesn't mean they can't teach you nothing. So that's the basis in what I try to show people, because these people have a lot of knowledge and there's a lot of talent, you know what I'm saying? And people just probably made one decision, you know, one bad mistake from just losing it all, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I try to show people, that, hey, I know Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan got all, you know, a lot of gems, but Ella got a lot of gems too. You see what I'm saying?
Sure
so
do.
you need to pay attention and listen, and that's what my overall basis is.
Okay, I like that. We have a very similar kind of like purpose behind what we're doing. We talk about this all the time on the shows. Like, my best guests are not Instagram famous, and it's kind of one of those things where that comes as a shock, especially to the younger generation, that like other people have done things. Other people are millionaires that are not Instagram famous. Other people are very good at business, very wonderful entrepreneurs, should definitely have a platform, but because of certain media, it takes a long time for you to get noticed. It does. So I started this to give people a platform before they, made the news or made whatever, because they still had something to talk about at whatever stage. Like, so yeah, I love, we're on the same page. Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I also wanted to ask you, with people on podcasts now, like kind of just airing out all their business, like the lady who was with the relationship coach, Denai Jackson. I don't know if y'all know her, but she got cheated on like really publicly in this like Christian relationship podcast that they had. And she told everybody on a podcast that he slept with 100 women. And I feel like, yeah, exactly. That's how I felt. I'm not kidding.
100 women?
100 women.
Why would you go in there and say some shit like that?
No, she aired out all his business. Like, I guess she was mad, and she just felt like this podcast was the place to put the business out here. And then you got Summer Walker, like, calling out girls on Instagram, on Carisha's, like, podcast. Like, I feel like podcasts have gotten a little insane. Do you, like, what do you see as the future of podcasts? And, like, what kind of got you into this crazy realm that we're in?
For me, though, just speak on the first thing, I have been there, though, like, going through some stuff, you know, going through, like, you know, family stuff and the feelings I feel. I have talked about the situation on my podcast, but not fully, you know.
We've all been a little exposed.
Yeah, you know, I kind of give out, I talk about it, but I kind of give the gems of it, of the whole situation, you know what I'm saying? So I can definitely understand that sometimes when you're going through it, it's definitely hard to not talk about it, especially if that person creates a comfortable space for you. You see what I'm saying? So she probably felt very comfortable to express herself like that. And sometimes you just need that outlet, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like future podcasts, everybody feel like it's oversaturated. I mean, you could say that to a degree, but I feel
everything's
like
oversaturated. I don't like that
me,
word. I feel like that's why you have different brands.
But to me, for me, as long as you got something to talk about, you know what I'm saying? Be different, stand out. Don't just go with the flow. I feel like a lot of people just get podcasts just to talk about stuff.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Just talk about stuff. And I never want to be there. I said, my podcast, you know what I'm saying, I want to give a message, you know what I'm saying? I want to, you know, educate people. You know, it's because what I went through growing up, I said, okay, this is what I went through. I know other people probably went through the same thing. So let me give out this game. Let me give out this knowledge to these people, to my baby sister and people around her age, so they can, when they get, you know, to a certain age, they're better equipped with information.
How old is your baby sister?
She's 15.
Okay. Oh, wow. So you're talking to the high schoolers. Wow. Okay. They can't watch my show. I curse a lot.
I mean, I curse too. You know, I have certain guests who curse too. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay. We curse. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I always want people to be themselves. If you curse a lot, then you go ahead and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to stop you. Shit. But I'm going to curse with you, but not like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, I'm going to stick to my brand.
Right. I'm going to curse with you, but not like that, you know?
Well, so what made you pick that age group? Because I feel like high schoolers is a different demographic than a lot of people are trying to reach right now.
For
Especially
me,
with a podcast. I wouldn't have thought that they would listen to a lot
for
of
me,
podcasts.
my main purpose is, going to school. They bash in your head, college.
Yeah.
They bash in your head, go here, go here, go here. And I like to show people, you know what I'm saying, because my family did that to my mom, my grandma. My
Mine
grandma
too.
still to this damn day. When you going to school, dude, when you go back to school, I'm like, man, I'm doing something, you know what I'm saying? But it's like she don't understand the vision. Some people don't understand the vision. You see what I'm saying? But for me, it's like, okay, I want to show people that, hey, you know what I'm saying, college is not always a recipe for success,
Okay.
but it's a recipe for being in debt, and it's about real shit though. Student loan is it's in the trillions, ain't it?
It's for
Yeah,
real.
it's in the trillions,
Yeah.
and a lot of times people, just go because they don't know what they want to do. My advice is this, man: find your passion and find your purpose. Whatever that you would do for free, monetize that, and that's where you go. You do not just go to college because you just want to go to college or somebody is forcing you to do that. Do not do that. And that's my main purpose. I have a lot of people on here who's very wise, who some went to college but in whole different career paths.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's why I went to college, graduated from Florida, now my boy a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to spend all that time, all that money that you paying back, but now you want to
That
rap.
you're not even using.
Yeah, so that's why I try to tell, find your passion, find your purpose in life. That's the most important thing, and I want to get them because I know how it was for me. They was bashing my head. Listen, don't let them bash in your head, man. Don't go to school and get in debt.
What was your purpose when you were in high school?
I like to play sports. Basketball. I love basketball at the time, and I feel like basketball was going to take me, to the next level. But then not happening that way, and went to college. Everybody, like I said, mama. So I went to college trying to make everybody else happy. Got there, realized this shit ain't for me, man.
Yeah.
I barely got out of damn high school. I don't want to sit here and do work. This just one for me. I had a great time though, great experience, but I realized that it wasn't for me. So that's how that was.
Okay. Because I think finding your passion took me a while. Well, I knew what I wanted to do. I've always been practicing my own show, since I was a kid. So I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. But like you said, my family pushed me into college, pushed me into taking that normal route.
Yep.
And every single time I tried to take the normal route, things would be abnormal for me.
Absolutely.
I would be late. I would go into work at 10. No, you got to be there at 8. Like, I would leave around 2, maybe 3:30. But my work would always be done. But I was just not a, go to work, go home type person. I always wanted to do this. So I would start a podcast, quit it, start a podcast, quit it. And so then I was just like, this is what I want to do. What made you decide this is my podcast? I'm going to do this as much as I possibly can.
Okay, actually, the whole podcast idea was actually one of my close friends.
Really?
Zay. Shout out Zay, man, my brother. We worked at the airport together.
Okay.
And we were supposed to do this, this podcast. He already did a podcast before, but he said he quit because he said, I guess the studio was too much money. Yeah. And, you still got to live at the same time.
It's a lot of things y'all don't understand that goes into a podcast.
Yeah, so he said he ended up quitting. But this is his whole idea of, interviewing upcoming entrepreneurs, entertainers. And I was like, I want to do it with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do it with you. And, life happens, you know what I'm saying? Things didn't go his way. He ended up, I guess, going to comedy. For me, for a long time, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I gotta do this. Like, I got to, because I got tired of waiting. I was waiting on him for a long time. Like, come on, what I do, But he was just, I understand what he was going through. And so I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. And I'm doing it. But my biggest trial was being on camera.
Really?
Yes, being on camera. I don't do the record. I don't do none of this. We don't do this. I don't do being on camera. You know what I'm saying? And then me telling my business. I never did that. I kept, I had a few friends that I confided in, and that was it. That was my biggest trial is telling my business. I didn't want to be judged. People to join me and stuff. Where I come from, but they join your ass, boy. Join you.
Our own people be so distracted.
Yeah.
We just be trying to live and talk about what we got going on.
You might have a girl you like, she's over there sitting over there. You got your homeboy just joining you. Everybody laughing. Like, you just so embarrassed.
But I like her.
You know what I'm saying? That's where I come from.
Yeah, same.
So it's like, okay, I ain't doing this. But once I got out of that, I had to start recording myself, talking about my day every day. And from that point forward, I got easily comfortable being on camera. And then it just...
What platform did you start on? Instagram, like talking about your day every day?
No, I talked about my day at the airport.
Oh,
I came
wow.
home, talked
Okay.
about my day at the airport.
Okay.
I came home, just put it. I still got the old videos on my phone too.
For real?
Yeah, I still got it. Sit down, talk about my day, what happened that day, what crazy passenger I had, or who I ran into. Girls talking about this. She would take care of them. It was always something. So I was like, okay, you know what?
Let's
It's
just
cool,
talk about
man.
the crazy stuff.
And I started talking about that being on
airport.
camera, and I did it every day I worked. And from that point forward, I got more comfortable. And then,
Did you post all of them?
No, I didn't post them. What I did was I started talking about certain topics. Like I might say, talk about pride, right? I post that to my close friends to see how they respond.
Okay.
And then I started doing like little videos. Like I used to do videos talking about pride, trustworthy and dependable. Like certain topics that were going on in my life at the time, I started talking about it. And that's how that went.
Okay, so you already started like testing your audience before you were like, I'm gonna make this a full podcast.
Because I thought at that time when I was doing that, I thought it was gonna be me and him. I knew he had a group of audience, and I was like, okay, let me get myself out there because I want to bring something to the table as well. But then that ended up happening, but it didn't go that way.
It's all right.
But I'm glad though. That's
you
my
set
boy.
your own self up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're definitely going to talk more about building your own brands from 0 listeners to a lot of listeners. I feel like that is the biggest thing about podcasting. And it's funny because you start off and it's only 4 people and then all of a sudden it's a lot more. So it's a fun little journey. It's the 4 people time that is really going to push you and see if you really want to do this. But before we get into that, I have one bossy shout out. We always shout out Risque Babes. They are a female-owned brand that specializes in sexual wellness, and what I love about them is that they have a 50% off code on everything over $100 if you guys just use the code entrepreneurish, and you'll get 50% off. And what we are really pushing is the rose, so definitely this is for our adults. That's why I said kids can't watch my show. But we definitely talk about freeing yourself, and being a woman is a lot of different things. And what I always want to present and provide safe spaces for them to find their products. I don't want you guys to have to go walk the streets and go ask who has the rose. I have it. I got you. So yeah, follow me on entrepreneur.ish.podcast if you guys want the code and the link. So just for my entrepreneurish listeners. So yeah, more about your podcast. What really got you to call it Put You On Game?
I was talking to my boy.
And come up with this cool logo and talk about your merch. Like, talk about all of that.
Okay, so shout out to my boy CJ. I remember one time I was still at the airport at that time. We was talking, talking about the podcast. He's like, what you gonna call it? And I'm thinking in my head, I said, you know what? Put You On Game. He said, I like that. Because we were discussing names, I was like, Put You On Game. He said, I like that. So, everything, came into intuition. I bought the equipment and stuff like that, and I went through it, and how this logo came in place. At first, man, I got to be real about it. My initial graphic designer, she my friend, so I got to put you on the spot a little bit, but not too much.
Oh, okay.
She was supposed to do my logo for me, because on my podcast, I only want to work with upcoming people.
Okay.
Nobody famous, so I want to get everybody upcoming to try.
I got you.
So she was an upcoming graphic designer, and I said, I want you to do my logo for me.
Wow.
And she was doing it, and she came with this idea, and she had stuff going on, but it took months. She came with an idea with a damn flame. It's just a flame, you know what I'm saying? That's
like,
it.
what am I supposed to do?
Let's do this shit. So I showed a couple of my coworkers. I said, you like this? They was like, hell no. I was like, man, I'm like, it's missing something. So I started looking at Drink Champs logo. I'm a big fan of Drink Champs.
Okay, we're gonna talk about podcasts later.
Big fan of Drink Champs. I looked at their logo and said, okay, logo's supposed to mean something. I'm trying to decipher what that. Okay, you got this. Okay, it mean that's worth a game logo. I looked at their logo. I said, okay, I'm trying to decipher. Okay, so mine have to be meaningful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, what's the purpose of my podcast? I said a book. You read. What's the purpose of reading a book? You read to gain knowledge, right?
Okay.
So that's what my podcast is about. You gain knowledge, you learn. So it's like, okay, I want to keep the flame, But keep the flame. Will put you on game coming out the top of it. That's how I came out with it.
Okay.
That's how I came out with it. And I said okay. But she ended up. I told her what I want to do, but something that happened. She ended up putting me with somebody else, and that person ended up bringing my idea to life.
Wow.
Man. And he did a great job. Thank you so much. Cause he had two or three drafts that I loved. I'm like, man, you know what? So I sent it to my little brother. And I sent it to somebody else. I'm like, man. How y'all feel about this? Like, which one? I didn't know which one to choose for.
I love what you do. You always ask other people for an opinion before you actually go for it. That's really cool.
At first, I wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? But I try not to be closed-minded because I can't stand people that are closed-minded. I can't, you know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to listen, but know what you're listening to. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing.
You got to be building for something.
Yeah, so I'm always willing to listen to other ideas and what people have to say about stuff, but long as it relates to what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? Because what works for you may not work for me. You see what I'm saying? But what you're saying...
Yes. I say that all the time. I say that all the time. Like, the way you came up is not going to be how I come up. Like, the way you got your graphic is not going to be how I get my graphic. It's okay. So I love that.
Yeah, so but if it fits what I'm trying to do, okay, I will listen. So just like when I'm talking about my merch, you know what I'm saying? At first, I was going to have put you on game on the back of it.
Okay.
But it was my friend. He said, hey, man, put some of your favorite quotes on the back of it.
Oh.
And then put whatever quotes that mean the most to you, put them on the back of it. I said, wow, that's not a bad idea.
Are you allowed? Can you make it?
Can I make it?
True success is reaching our potential without compromising our values.
And that's what I stand for. Wow. This is actually my favorite quote because this is my motto. This is what I live by. Wow. A lot of times we compromise ourselves in order to reach success, and I pride myself on being who I am, being true to people and good to people in order to make it. And I will, if I got to fuck over people or do people any kind of way to get where I want to get to, I don't want it. Yeah. I can have it. I'll stick to my two people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I love that. That's probably the biggest thing that I think is how I've been deciphering who I work with. I think that was another thing. When I first started my podcast, I wanted to talk to everybody. And I was like, oh, anybody could be on my show. Anybody could be on my show. You come on my show. Everybody come on my show. But no, you cannot be like that. It's because when you have a purpose, like entrepreneurship is for the people who are just getting started. It is for the people who are stumbling, the people who are coming across obstacles, and they need to see that people got past their obstacles so they can too. Right. And so when you're doing that, you can't just have anybody. You can't just have anybody on here. You have to have people who are going to help people get over those obstacles. They're going to meet the purpose of your show. So for you, when you started picking your guests, did you do the same thing where you're like, I'll get everybody, or did you start off intentionally?
At first, I started off with people I knew, right?
Okay.
So I interviewed Kimber. Shout out Kimber, my partner, that's the person who actually got me to the idea of recording myself on, my
every
day. So I start off with her, and then I started with people that I knew first, just to get comfortable, recording myself. And then I think episode 14, it was the Funny Mama. That was the first episode I interviewed someone I did not know. Now, as you probably know, everybody knows it's easy to talk to people that you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can laugh, go together. It's easy to talk to people that you know, but it's hard talking to a complete stranger.
Well, not for me.
Well, for me, that was my biggest worry. Like, how can I still create the same magic with somebody I don't know? You know what I'm saying? I know I can create magic with you. I talk to you all the time, but it's like I don't know you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So how can I create that magic?
Vibe.
You know
what
I'm saying?
How do you find it?
Yeah. So when I interviewed the Funny Mama, she gave me that confidence. That was like,
really?
Okay, I can do this.
What about that conversation was memorable to you?
It was just a great episode, just back and forth.
Is she a comedian?
She's a comedian.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They normally can get you comfortable.
Yeah, but the episode was so beautiful and people enjoyed it and loved it. But even doing that episode afterwards, I said, you know what? I can do this shit. You know, so that was the stamping point. Now, okay, I'm built for this.
What year was that? When did that happen?
I think Funny Mama episode 14, so that had to be sometime, I want to say maybe October, November-ish of 2022, I think.
Okay. So you just started. Okay. So how's that been?
Almost a year, June 3rd of this year.
Okay. Turn up. Yay, I just had my year in April, so I understand. I know. So, okay, in your first year, what is the biggest thing that you have learned?
Biggest thing that I've learned to respect people's time, and I respect other people's business more so as well. I learned a lot of stuff. Growing up, my mama probably should attest this. I didn't really care about certain things. When you don't buy stuff, you don't really care about it too much. You know what I'm saying? But when you purchase it, you gonna make sure.
You're gonna be like, is this the quality? How long is this gonna last?
Exactly.
Like,
You gonna make
who made
sure.
this? Where is it made from?
You gonna
What's
take
in
care.
it?
You gonna take. So once I did my thing, I said, okay, I start respecting other people's time, and I start really understanding what it took to make it. You know what I'm saying? What other people be talking about. Like sometimes you hear people talk all the time about things, but you don't understand until you go through it.
Yeah.
So by me having my podcast, I understand by people showing up late and dealing with this, and people think they can tell you when to release something. It's just a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of stuff. I'm like, who the hell you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? What you thought this was? You know what I'm saying? But I be trying to be good. I try to always be professional, but sometimes people would, push that button.
They try you.
And feel entitled,
What's your biggest boundary thing? Because mine is the whole put it out now type thing.
Yeah, I did that before.
I have a schedule. Like I'm on a schedule because I know what I can do. You cannot tell me what to do with my stuff. Like, right. So what's yours? What's your boundary? So for me, I just be like, okay. Like I literally would just send okay, and then it'll come out when I feel like it's my page. Like,
yeah, I got into a little minor situation with that about trying to release the episode because I was trying to. What happened was, okay, I was supposed to release the episode, her episode a lot earlier than I did, but she wasn't on Instagram. She had some other stuff going on. So I said, I hit her up because she's, I always say, guess can you promote the episode? Okay. So she disabled her Instagram. So when she disabled her Instagram, I said, what's going on? So I texted her. I said, everything okay? So I'm taking a mental break for Instagram. I said, okay, cool. You know what? I'm just push the episode back then until you get back right.
You're so nice.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I believe in treating people how I want to be treated.
Okay.
I'm just saying off camera, like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, I do good business, and I really believe in that, you know what I'm saying? So I said, I'll push it back. So then I did that. But then now, guess what? She got back on Instagram within, I think, that same week, but later on that week, they wanted me to release it. I said, no.
No, wait a minute.
It didn't work like that. Now, I got somebody else episode coming that week, yours coming out this week, and I told her when hers gonna come out. And we got into a little situation, not major. Man, her good now. That's my dog now, but it was a little minor situation. Just because I'm like, who the hell you talking to? Like,
right.
This not finna go on. Like,
I also was doing this out of the kindness of my heart. I pushed it back, and then now you want to flip. Yeah.
Exactly. So that thing went on, and it's just. Man, but like I said, just people feel entitled. I think people feel entitled, and people don't respect your business, don't respect your time. They show up when they want to show up, and that's the thing, and they can tell you when to do certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Me neither. So how would you describe your biggest obstacle? Because I think for me, I had no idea. Audio and visual was my biggest obstacles. Like you go from getting on your phone and then people are like, I can't hear you talk. And then you're like, okay, now I got to go buy a microphone. And then you're like, what kind of microphone? Like there's all kinds of things that just start showing up. What was the biggest surprise for you with podcasting when it comes to equipment?
The biggest surprise for me, I actually haven't had any problems on the technical side of it.
Oh, okay.
Most of my problems really come from the guests.
Oh.
I ain't gonna lie. Most of my problems come from the guests. You know what I'm saying? And they just be, I don't know, man. I don't know.
What's the biggest obstacle with a guest?
I had one guest come on my podcast, right? And I sent her everything. I told her everything we play, about the game and stuff like that. I do all that. And then, okay, cool. You know everything, right? Then you get to my set, and I'm like, okay. Oh, I can't drink. I can't be seen drinking on camera. You knew.
You're like, I asked you. He really does ask.
Yeah, I asked you all that before we even got started.
Yeah, before you even scheduled, he asked.
First of all, she came an hour late. I'll put that out there. Came an hour late, and then on top of that, you come an hour late, and then you come in, and this is what you say to me.
And then you can't participate in the podcast.
I can't be seen taking shots. You know what I'm saying? My agents may reach out to you. I'm like, I said, look here, baby. I said, this podcast Look, this podcast ain't for the politically correct. You know what I'm saying? We live in a society where we have to be politically correct, and this ain't one podcast. If I want people to be themselves, however you feel, even if I disagree, that's how you feel.
Yeah, you want us to feel raw, like,
you know what I'm saying? As long as it ain't like really bad, like racist type stuff, anything like that. But for the most part, that's what it's about for me. And yeah, she came on and did that, and I said, you know what? My podcast ain't for politically correct. She said, well, my whole brand is about being politically correct. I said, go on, man. I said, well, respectfully, my platform ain't for you.
Okay.
But I already don't spend my money and all that stuff, so
yeah.
you come and do me like that, that's the thing that really hurts, and it, you know what I'm saying, where I have to really just sit back for a minute.
So how did that feel to be like, I'm going to put my foot down, like this isn't going to work, even though I did spend my money, because I think a lot of people do things just because they spent the money on it. Mm-hmm. And now it's kind of like you're underwater, but you also wanted to stand on your principle. Mm-hmm. Like how was that, experiencing that for the first time?
Experiencing that for the first time was, for me, was more so, let me see. I started getting contracts. I got contracts now, so I never had it at first, but I had an incident with a guest, and she loved the episode. The episode was beautiful, and she left. We had a great conversation, and then I guess when the episode came out, I guess some of her friends were, I guess they didn't like it. They said it's my son. He more interested in your dating life than your actually art. It was just like some petty stuff. Like, I like Wendy's more than McDonald's. Like, really? Like, are you serious right now?
No, like, these are my questions. Like, you can answer them or not.
Exactly.
Like, and if you felt like we talking too much on dating, then say.
I said the question, and she approved everything.
Wow.
And I asked her before time. I said, "Is there anything you want me to add? Anything you want to promote? Anything that you want to add to it?" She said, "I'm good." She said, "I just want to announce my art shows. You know what I'm saying, on it." I said, "Okay, cool, do that." And she did that. So what I do wrong?
So you're like, okay, where's the problem?
And I still got released the episode, and see, I do everything by myself. I, edit it. I do all that by myself.
Wow. Okay.
So for me, it's like, damn, I'm wasting my time, my money, and people don't even see that. Oh, just delete the episode. Just erase it. Really?
Okay, please, let's talk about how much work it takes to make a podcast, because I think everybody just think we be up here talking. No, and there's a lot that goes into this. There's like literally 3 people helping us to make this right now. Like, this is a full-blown production. So, like, for you, what is it like making your podcast? What do you go through? What's the process of it? Let's just talk about it.
I think for me, the main thing is, I think those weeks go by so fast. Doing the episode every week, man. They go by, next episode, the next episode, the next
Thursday.
episode. Like, damn. Who's next on the list? Who's next? So that's all it was for me, man. Just the consistency of it. Like, that's the hardest part, being consistent. People understand, those weeks go by fast, and you got to get those guests in, and sometimes
and lock them in, make sure they're coming, like, keep up with them.
But sometimes you might have a guest call, don't come. No call, no show. Like, that's why for people, that's why I didn't have an episode last week, because I had too many people back to back.
Wow.
Didn't show up, or didn't, I ain't gonna be able to make it.
Do you have a backup where you'll just do the show with yourself?
What I do is I was booking like 2 or 3 people at one time, and that's what worked out beautiful, because then I can sit back and I can go through each episode and get together. That's what I was doing, but I had when I did that, I had 2 or 3 people cancel on me. You know what I'm saying?
I talked about that a lot.
Now I don't have an episode. So now I'm like, who can I get in here? You know what? Maybe God's trying to teach me something, teach me patience. Because I want to go the whole year, releasing an episode every week.
Every single week.
And I missed that last week. And but I'm like, maybe God's trying to teach me patience. You know what I'm saying? I got my merch out. I've been, receiving revenue from the podcast. So it's like, okay, D, now it's time to, maybe this is a way of humbling me, maybe something I'm not doing, but maybe, like I said, the main thing, I feel like you're trying to teach me patience. Okay, I'm going to bless you, but you're going to come on back a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I felt like at the time. So, but yeah, guest counsel, man, and you have no episode, and that really hurts me, bro, because I really like giving out, you know, my material. I like being consistent. You know
Especially,
what I'm saying?
do you promote your show before the episode comes out? Like, how do you do it? Do you record it first and then promote it, or
Yeah, I record it first, then promote it.
Okay, that saves you.
I do a promo first, and then I do the snippets out throughout the week and flyers and stuff like that.
That was my biggest fear going live. Was like, what if somebody doesn't show up? Like, luckily that hasn't happened. Thank God. I love you guys. Thank you for showing up. But like, that was my biggest thing because I would promote it, and it would be like, look, I have told everybody that you're gonna be on my show, and luckily, like, people respect that when they see. I think the effort that you put into your podcast is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
I think when people see you being very professional, showing up on time, promoting it every day, they're going to be like, okay, this is something I can rely on to actually come out. I know some people they tell me they have a podcast, and I go and look, and I haven't seen anything for 6 months. That consistency thing, it's all of these things that go into being a podcaster. My biggest surprise was actually having people watch it. I think that was my biggest surprise, because now I'm accountable. Now it's not like, oh yeah, I have a show. It's like, oh no, I have a show and I'm waiting on it. What's the link? Like, when is it coming out? Like, how did you feel when you started seeing people buy your merch? When you started seeing people like, I know your show, I like your show.
It's an affirmation thing. I really appreciate it. It boosts my confidence. I ain't gonna lie, boosts my confidence. So even though my confidence is at an all-time high, I ain't gonna lie, but still, it's good to hear other people. You know what I'm saying? I like your podcast, man. I really like it. Talk about some good stuff on there. Good stuff. Good people. Got good guests. And then the guests that I have on there, their response after it's over is what really that sets it off. Like, man, this was fun. Man, I gotta connect on here, bro. I gotta connect on here.
Yeah.
So most of them always say that, and it's like they don't know that their response to when we done is what, like, okay.
It's really when you like, okay, I can talk my shit now. Like, I do this.
but I would try to, be humble, have a little bit of humility. But yeah.
Nah, have your moment.
Yeah. I have my moment. I appreciate it. I know I'm that dude. You know what I'm saying? I gotta say it. I know I'm him. But you know what I'm saying? I still try to, be humble at the same time. That's all.
So what are your future aspirations for your podcast? What is Put You On Game gonna do next?
Put You On Game do next. I want to do live shows. I want to do a Put You On Game album. I haven't said this.
What?
Well, all upcoming, all the singers,
that you
the rappers, and the
like
beats.
a DJ Khaled thing.
Yeah, like a DJ Khaled thing.
I'm here for it.
Doing that. You know what I'm saying? Doing an album, having them together.
Idea.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm working on my intro right now. I got a upcoming singer. She's going to sing. Have a rapper lay a verse. Everybody I want to work with is all upcoming. Everybody's in the industry. I'm trying to give everybody a chance, an opportunity, or whatnot. So, and I want to do live shows, little shows, and have people come and watch me, interview somebody. So, future plans, man.
Live shows are fun. You got to do it. You got to do it. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to switch to our game. We're going to have a fun little time. And today's game is podcast recommendation battle. So we have to go back and forth on our favorite podcast and why. But before we do that, I want to do a bossy shout out to Mo Music Entertainment. We are going to be at Donnell Jones' 50th birthday party this weekend on Saturday. So check my page on Instagram, entrepreneur.ish.podcast. And you guys are going to see the links to everything that we have going on this weekend. It's going to be fun. Memorial Day weekend. All right. Back to podcast recommendation battle. So we're going to share 3 different podcast recommendations, and we have to stick to the same genre and say why we like it. Okay. We're going to give us 3 minutes. That should be enough time. Give me a little 15-second little countdown. 3 minutes and 15. Okay. So for the spiritual, what's your favorite podcast?
Spiritual. Dang, that's a good question. What is my favorite spiritual podcast?
Do you listen to spiritual podcasts?
I do. Somebody's recently put me on to something. I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
I can't think.
So
But
always have a memorable name, guys. We have a podcast.
I know Michael Todd was on one of them.
Okay.
I know he was on the episode, and I really enjoyed the episode. I'm trying to think of it. It'll come back to me.
See, I was like, one thing I don't want people to do is to remember a guest more than my actual show.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So, no, it's okay, but this is what I talk about with podcasts. It's like, you gotta do it. It is messed up because it's your show, but the other person you brought on.
I'm really sorry.
You only remember.
No disrespect. No disrespect. I promise you. No disrespect. No disrespect.
He's gonna think of it, and we're gonna put it in the comments. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. But mine is Oprah's Super Soul. Have you heard that?
It sounds familiar.
So Oprah's had this podcast forever. So first of all, Oprah's a big deal for me because I grew up watching that. When I thought of talk shows, Oprah's the reason for Tyra Banks having a talk show. Oprah's the reason for Wendy Williams having a talk show.
Oprah's bigger than life.
Oprah did 25 years on live TV. You cannot ever take away from that.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. So now she started the podcast and she's doing the same big numbers. But this is more spiritual. So she'll take a guest and she'll ask them what they believe in manifestation or their rules, how they got to be millionaires, how they got to be famous, how they got to finish their book, do their movie, whatever it is. So it's kind of like what we do here, but on just a bigger, an Oprah scale, you know what I'm saying? So that's my favorite. Informational.
For me, Mina's worth a game.
Really? Okay.
They give out a lot of gems. That's kind of where I base my podcast a little bit on. I always say it's a mixture of Mina's worth a game and Drink Champs.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I get it because of your game, and then also what you talk about. Okay, that makes sense.
I like just the certain elements they did, inspired me to put stuff into my stuff. You see what I'm saying?
So, what elements would you were the things that you wanted to implement?
Okay, to my Mina's worth a game or Drink
For
Champs?
both of them.
For Drink Champs, they play a game called Quick Time with Slime, where they ask you a question. They ask you to pick between these two people, and if you pick both, you gotta drink. If you pick one, then you're good to go. So it was like, okay, people have a tough time answering because they have low relationships with these people. Yeah. So I said, how can I get, you know what I'm saying?
The same type of fire.
Reaction. So that's why I came up with my game,
Okay. Whoops, 3 minutes. Keep talking. That's rude.
Well, I would ask you, I would ask people 5 questions, and it's based on Black excellence, and I give you multiple choice. So if you get it right, you know what I'm saying, I take a shot. You get it wrong, you take a shot.
Okay.
That's more how so that's where I really got that game from. I had to be creative. I was like, how can I be creative with my stuff? And that's where that.
I got you. Okay. So since we're done, my timer went off. Mine is For Your Leisure.
For Your Leisure, that's a good one too.
That one's
I like that
I think
too.
that one's gotten popular real fast.
It has.
I think that's something that I discovered last year, and I did not expect for everybody to know what I was talking about. That was my secret podcast, and now it's not a secret. So shout out to y'all. What I like to do at the end of the show is ask everybody what their bossy habit is. So hashtag bossy is boss plus bestie. That's what it is. And what my habit is working out. And so for me to feel like a boss, I work out. What is your feel like a boss thing that you do?
I feel like a boss. Play basketball. Go hoop.
Really? Y'all, that is a hard game to play. I do not
it's
know
not
how
really
y'all.
hard a game.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of running. It's a lot of jumping. It's a lot of falling over. It's too much work.
I mean, I feel like every sport got its, the difficulties. I mean, it's really simple once you play. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's more detailed if you're trying to really get great at it. But
so, what makes it your boss thing? Why is that your thing?
I can escape reality.
Okay.
If I'm going through something, I can, go on the court, and everything else is just. I feel like I'm away from everything. You see what I'm saying? And it's just me and the rim. That's why I like it.
Okay. You know, does it help you like prepare for the day, like because you had that clarity moment and you get to go back and deal with your real life?
That's more my, you know, people meditate. That's kind of like my
your meditation. Yeah, that's me running. I understand that. you get past the mile, you can't think of anything else, and it's really freeing. Okay, so our last bossy shout out is to Tropical Bath Body. You guys pay attention to next week's June 1st show. It is my birthday month. We're about to turn up. We're starting at 7. And also, we are celebrating my YouTube hitting over 100 subscribers.
Okay, then.
Shout out to YouTube Shorts. That is my little podcast. Jim, if you guys need it, please use YouTube Shorts. It's how I've been gaining my subscribers. And we are doing a collab with Tropical Bath Body in June. So I'll be hosting. So you guys have to stay tuned for next week to get the flyer and the information and all of that. But that's what's happening. So June is it. And we're having a special birthday episode, June 22nd. It's my birthday. We're going to have a lot of people from other episodes coming back. So it's going to be a fun time.
That's what's up.
Yeah, you are definitely invited.
Okay, I definitely
be there. So shout out to Creative Visions. Again, thank you so much for filming this episode of Entrepreneurish. And shout out to Live Hip Hop Daily. Let everybody know your socials.
You can find me. I'm on IG, P U on Game. Just that simple. P U on Game. On Twitter, Put You on Game 24. And I think my TikTok is Darius M. Kofer, I believe so. I just post on TikTok. I don't really be on that too much, but Instagram, Twitter, you could definitely find me on that.
One less social media.
You can definitely find me on that too, man, for sure.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Steve, for showing up. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. Thank you so much too, man.
Of course. Yeah, I'm going to be on his podcast too, but we'll talk about it later.
Yes, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching Entrepreneurs, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right.
Bye.